we move over to the track. The athletes out on the back straight. The whole track now, thankfully, in shade, so temperatures will come down a bit, even though it's still a very warm evening in the Spanish capital. It's the men's steeplechase, 3,000-metre steeplechase. Another tough one, this, Phil.
Indeed it is. Well, we saw the women in the 5,000 metres take it pretty steadily up until that last kilometre. And I'm just wondering whether these men will employ similar tactics. We do have 4 men who've run under 8:15 this year, and including another very good Spaniard, Daniel Arce. Can he follow in the footsteps of Mohamed Atawi and take 16 points? Arce did win 2 years ago in Horzo. He's the quickest man both on career and seasonal bests. Championship best of Joan Coel, 8:25.50. You'd have to say, with these calibre of athletes, that potentially could be under threat. But having said that, with this altitude and this heat, I don't think we're going to see a time of that level. There's Daniel Arce being presented to the crowd. Well, Arce, big favourite. There's a personal best of 8:08.45. Comes from Burgos and is former student at the University of Burgos. Now 33 years of age. Just running across the whole field. A couple of the other men to look out for. Strong runners. France's Nicolas Marie Daru. He improved recently to 8:10.69. And then as we switch to the inside, Karl Berendorf. Well, Berendorf, 29 years of age, but just 10 days ago ran a personal best of 8:11.52 in Finland. And on the inside, the very good Italian, Ai Zoglami, 5 times national 5,000 metre or steeplechase champion. Just outside his best recently at the Stockholm Diamond League meeting, 8:14.38. Also keep an eye out for Sweden's Victor Johansson, another sub-8:20 man, and he ran 8:17 personal best recently as well. That coming in the Stockholm Diamond League meeting.
On your mark.
Well, the starter just taking them time, bringing them forward.
Well, that's a rarity. Full start in a steeplechase, can you believe? The European record, 8:00.09. And that mark, I suspect, is going to stay safe tonight by McKissy of France back in 2013. No full starts here, goodness me. They do like to make it fair and absolutely correct, though.
I didn't see anything wrong with that, but I'm not that close to what's going on there.
Probably helps to be a starter if you've got a bit of OCD. You know, you want it to be absolutely right. 1 millimetre is 1 millimetre, and that makes it a full start.
So green card, a faulty start. Nobody penalised. Just continuing to stretch out. We saw Johansson there doing a couple more gentle calisthenics, and they try to get underway for the second time of action. Clean start this time. Well, as expected. Well, it did start very slowly. It's the Portuguese athlete, Edson Barros, who's done well at European age group events in the past, getting to the fore. Very easy to spot figure. He's very tall. Barros competes for the Benfica club, who are, well, they're doing pretty well at the moment on the football pitch as well, out in the World Club Championships. And it's Barros, well, it's pretty sedentary, but it's not walking pace. Palkovic, the Hungarian, has run 8:18 in the past, but hasn't been close to that this year.
No, he's actually made this quite respectable, Phil. The Barros over the first 300 metres. Yeah. Look at that single file. That's good to see.
Well, I think part of it, I mean, I know you didn't really ever run steeplechases, is just making sure that you're well sighted and you've got your rhythm right coming into the barriers. You can't be walking into the barriers, otherwise you're going to get draped over them more often than not. Arce in a good position in 4th place, the man who won 2 years ago. 8:08 man.
Well, we know it's a tough discipline, this one. Remember, Lasha Magurma, the world record holder last year in Paris at the Olympic Games, banging his head, falling after a barrier, banging his head, and being out of the sport for, well, about about 10 or 11 months. He actually came back and won the Paris Diamond League last week with 8:07, but his first race in some 10 months or so after that very, very tough fall at the Olympic Games. So, yeah, those barriers don't move. If you hit them with your shin or your knee, it's your body that moves, not the barrier.
Barros taking them through 600 metres in unofficially 1:44, so from one Portuguese athlete to another.
Right. Sharp then in this discus. No throw in the first round. What can she do here? That's better. It's around 60 metres for Liliana Chat as she opens the second round. That is much better from her. That's what we expect. She is a 66-metre thrower at her absolute best. Her opener, she looked somewhat nonplussed with it. She was the winner of this competition 4 years ago in the competition before last. Was 5th in Tokyo at the Olympic Games. She is a big-time performer, and that one for Cha, 60-49.
Megier, the pole, takes over at the front. It's still in there. Most of the main protagonists who we'd expect to be up there. Palovic of Hungary, Bebendorf of Germany, and Arke. Just keeping a close eye on proceedings. Aglami, the Italian, back in 5th. Frenchman Daru in 6th at the moment. But the good early pace, and we're just coming up very shortly. We've just gone through the kilometre mark, and just take a time check on that. Don't have the time for
250. 250 the first kilometre.
Right. Yeah, so I think the heat's getting to our commentator information system, but Megier out in front. So that's a pretty decent pace. That's
8:30 pace.
8:30 pace, yeah. Not too bad at all things considered, when we remember what was going on in the 5,000 metres. And it is starting to string out. There's really only about 7 men up there. And then in about 8th place, I think it's the Briton up there, Battershil. And there's starting to be a little bit of a gap between the leading 7 and the other men, including Barros, who's struggling.
Well, Barros was the early leader in the tall figure in the green of Portugal, but he's putting his foot on the barriers. He did just now down the back straight anyway. I don't know if he does in this one. I think he did then. There he is, top left of picture in the green, struggling to go with these 9 athletes in front of him. He's in 10th place for us. They come through with 4 laps to run. We can go back to this discus, though. Now, Van Klinken, 64-61, her opener. She has the lead. She's in control. Round 2. That's another big effort. It's right out there, very close to her opener. You can see those yellow dotted lines spread across the sexta, which is superimposed across your images. It's not out there on the grass. That is her leading mark. It's close to her 64-61. In fact, it's come up at 63-69. So a really good second round throw from Van Klinken. She's in complete control. She has the 2 best throws of the day by over 3 meters. Her second best mark is better than Chap of Portugal. Only 3 athletes over 60 meters at the moment.
Well, we're back in the steeplechase, and it is starting to speed up a little bit. Pace being pushed by Megier, who took the race through the first kilometre in 2:50, a little bit of change. And he's looking very good, the pole. We weren't factoring him into the equation. He's an 8:23 man. Personal best fairly recently. Megier running that in Bydgoszcz at the end of last month. Bydgoszcz, of course, an awful lot cooler in the north of Poland, and now he's starting to pull away. I'm just wondering whether this is all a bit too early for him. But behind them, the men are just letting him go at the moment. It's about a 3 to 4 metre gap between Megier and, it's Palovic at the front. And Megier starts to drift back. Palovic sprinting to the front. I'll tell you what, we've done that once or twice, confused the Pole and the Hungarian vest. They are very, very similar. Arke, though, looking menacing in second place at the moment.
Well, you've got to admire this aggressive running out in front by the Pole Megier. He's taking it to the rest here, the 22-year-old Palkovic, excuse me, the Hungarian. Yeah, you're right, Phil, they are too similar, those vests. I want to put an official complaint in. The 24-year-old out in front, he's giving it everything here, and he's an 8:18 performer, 8:38 this year, that's all. But he's He might not have got away. They've closed the gap and they're back with him, but he's strung it out and it's begun to take its toll on others. So sometimes you put in a mid-race surge and you might not get clear, but you whittle it down to fewer opponents on your shoulder.
Yes, well, they're now coming up 700 metres to go. They went through the 2 kilometre mark in 5:39.48. And now it's RK getting to the front and starting to go through the gears, but he's grimacing. Behind him, Bebendorf looks very comfortable at this stage. Palkovic, who pushed the pace in the previous lap, he's on the inside at the moment, not in a good position. He looked very laboured getting over that barrier, the 18 man. Daru coming through from a long way back, perhaps running a very steady, very conservative race over those first 2 kilometres, and has run a very clever tactical race to get up there as well. It's looking as though there's now starting to be a little bit of daylight, but as I say that, Constantina's back. It was looking as though it was RK and Bebendorf and Daru getting away, but Johansson's closed the gap now. Zaglami's up there as we hear the bell. RK now, he leads the way. This is the man who won in Horzo 2 years ago. He's an 8:08 man. He's by far and away the best performer in this field on season and personal best, but Bebendorf isn't letting him get away with this. Also Daru having an extremely good run as well. RK really going through the pain barrier here, holding off Bebendorf. Now Bebendorf rounds the Spaniard to the groans of the home crowd. It's a little bit sparsely attended along the back straight. The home straight is packed, and Bebendorf, though, he's coming in now. The last water jump and one more barrier after this. Bebendorf starting to pull away from the otherwise favourite RK now having to struggle to hold off Daru in second place, but it's Bebendorf switching out to the second lane just to get a clear view. Comfortable hurdling from Bebendorf, and Bebendorf coming through, and this is looking as though it could be a championship record. It's speeded up, it's 8:20.43, a championship record for Bebendorf.
Brilliant stuff from Bebendorf, and look at that, he looks easy, doesn't he? Goodness me, the Germans at the moment have got a bit of a production line of great 3,000 metre steeplechasers. He was the European Championship bronze medalist last year, Bebendorf, but a late developer, I think you could say. His 3,000 metres indoor best, only 7:52. He's not world class at 3,000 on the flat, but he does have good 800 speed. 1:47 man for 800, which is quite some speed to take to the steeplechase. And as you say, Phil, quite rightly, a new championship record, replacing that of Frenchman's Coal from 2014. 8:25 has improved the championship record, another track race championship record, and in a middle distance race by over 5 seconds.
Well, I wouldn't have banked on that championship record going at this altitude and this heat, but nevertheless an absolutely fantastic performance for Bebendorf. He kept his powder dry, and then with 200 metres to go, swept around Daniel RK and moved away comfortably. 8:20 in these conditions is a phenomenal performance. Well, you have to say, Bebendorf, what a terrific run from this man who's really coming into his own this year. 29 years of age, and he's having the season of his life over the barriers. And yes, he did break sweat, but it did look very comfortable. Just look at the expressions on the face of the two men behind him, RK and Daru.
Wow. Bebendorf quite supreme there. That's the comfort of his win, not really reflected by that winning margin of about 1.5 seconds. Battershill, 8:28 down in 6th place. Good run for the Brit. That's only 7 seconds outside his lifetime best in a race that took a little while to get going. Remember the early pace, it was 2:50 and then at 2:49 the first 2 kilometres. So that's good points for Britain. Probably, I think, at 2 or 3 more than would have been expected on paper. And there's the team standings after 9 events. The Netherlands on 110.5. Spain, 10.5's back, obviously, on 100. Italy having a great day on 99. Great Britain holding their own at the moment with 92 points with these field events clicking by. It's still 2 underway at the moment. The discus for women, the triple jump for men. And then Czechia, Poland, France, Sweden rounding out the top 8. Germany, the surprise package, I suppose, at this early stage, down in 9th, but they are improving.